For 2.8 million shillings, if I want to get into the German luxury car market, there's a lot of options I can get, especially from the big three. That's Audi, Audi, BMW, and Mercedes. Today I'm sat in the Audi A4, the 2016 one to be exact, and I'm coming into this review completely blind, and that's for good reason. I'm Wemo, this is Conversations, and today we're going to try and find out, why do people buy this car?
Broken and still feel nothing at all but pain and the chill. Yeah, cold and I'm all alone. Yeah, I can't even see shore. Yeah, and I got nowhere to go.
In terms of German cars, I am a Benz guy, if that's not already clear. I know I do rag on them more over and over again because of the lack of real exhaust tips, but through and through, I am a Benz guy. And if I had about 2.8 million shillings, I could possibly get a 2015 C200 or a 2016 C200 if I choose to ship it using AUTOSELECT. But say that wasn't an option, I am pretty confident my second choice would most likely be an Audi. But why is that? Let's start off by taking a look at what's under the hood. This 2016 A4 comes equipped with the 2-liter inline-4 engine with a TFSI system, which is pretty standard. That engine is mated together with something that Audi likes to call an 8-speed multitronic gearbox system. It's a CVT. No matter what you call it, it's still a CVT. But 2013, Audi had to make a massive payout to its customers concerning the CVTs of that year having massive failures. Since then, they have refined it a lot more to the point where you're almost second guessing yourself, is this really a CVT? That partnership of the engine and gearbox in this particular car puts out around 222 horsepower and about 258 newton meters of torque, which is pretty good. In terms of its drivability and the power delivery, I have a relatively straightforward power band where the turbo lag that I have isn't significant to any sort of point, where if I put my foot down, it goes. It's very smooth in terms of how the power is just delivered straight under your right foot. It's seamless, and when you put it down, there's a brief second of hesitation, the turbo lag, and then it just goes, it kicks off. In terms of the power delivery, I can kind of see how this is a decent middle ground between sportier BMWs and more refined gentlemanly cars, Mercedes-Benz. So in terms of the engine, I understand where Audi is trying to go with this car, and I think that's one of the reasons why people do buy this car. It's a happy middle ground to everything. Let's talk about the suspension in this car. So at the front, Audi has decided to go with a double wishbone system, which very fancy and very sporty, to be honest. And at the back, we have a multi-link suspension system as well as your gas dampers. In terms of how Audi has set up this suspension, it is firm. It is ridiculously firm. I can feel every single bump, every single uneven road surface. It's almost as though I'm sat on a carpet on the road and I'm being dragged. It's not the best. Yes, that does give you the added benefit of being able to dive into corners much better without too much lean, but you do have the trade-off of comfort and that luxurious feel that you'd expect out of an executive sedan. Going over bumps, the car is pretty low, so you do struggle sometimes with some of those really high mountains that the government has decided to call bumps, which they clearly aren't. So you have to do that whole little dance of going a bit off, then coming back. It's just annoying. But focusing more on that suspension, I'm not the biggest fan of it, especially if you're just looking for relaxed, smooth, comfortable drive. You might not find that in this car. But if you're looking to have a bit of that trade-off for the sportier side of things, this might be what you're looking for. For me personally, it's not. In terms of what's controlling this car, or what I'll have my hands on for majority of the time in which I am driving this car, is the steering wheel. It's nice, it's large, and I have these paddle shifters right behind it, which help me in terms of wanting to go for that sportier feel. I'm able to shift very easily. But let's talk about the steering in itself. This does have an electronically assisted steering rack, which I don't like how they've implemented it. The steering feels very light. It's very loose. It almost gives me a sense of not being attached to the car. It's not the most responsive, especially at lower speeds. It gets very light, which it doesn't give you that confidence inspiring feeling when you're driving such a car. At higher speeds though, it does stiffen up a little bit and get a bit heavier, a bit heftier. But again, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Sometimes when you're trying to maneuver at low speeds, you have to input so much more steering angle on the steering wheel for it to feel like you're doing anything. Yes, that might work for a few other people, but in my experience with this car, it hasn't really satisfied that little itch that I have, because I do want a steering which gives me that confident feeling, especially when I'm trying to maneuver around corners and for in-city driving. Like as we are right now, we're at slightly higher speeds, within speed limits, should I add, and it does feel very decent. But when you get to lower speeds, no, it's not the best. But I do understand that there is a crowd for everything, and this is just not my cup of tea. Everything taken into account, the 2016 Audi A4 is a pretty well put together car. It handles decently well, it feels planted on the road, and the steering, well, it could be better, but it's not that bad. The driving feel is one that can inspire confidence. Now, it drives good, but does it look as good as it drives? Before we continue, this car has been graciously provided to us by KDG Imports. Visit them at their showroom on Gong Road, or alternatively, you can follow them on their socials. Now, let's talk about this A4. The front end of the 2016 A4 is very well put together. It's a very tidy, neat, it's a smart looking car. Let's start with this part in particular. This lovely, massive grille surrounded by this very aggressive chrome looking lining. You have your standard 4 rings and a massive air intake. It just looks really lovely. Going lower, you have this nice body colored lip looking bumper. It's been very well integrated. Focusing on the headlights, these headlights, they look refined, sophisticated. It's very neat and tidy. Once again, you have your daytime running lights. They just seem to swoop and curve around this main beam, the projector beam, which illuminates really well. Moving slightly back, you have these diamond cut alloy wheels, 19 inches, but realistically speaking, you could probably get away with 20s at the front and 21s at the back. You have this lovely body colored side mirror, and the lines of this car just seem so, again, understated and refined. It looks pretty good. It's pretty tidy, well put together. You have this massive bit of chrome just lining your mirrors, your windows, pardon. It's nice. Now, the back of this car, it's very tidy, it's neat, nothing too flashy, nothing too attention seeking. It looks very nice. You have these lights, they're just so nice and tidy. Your TFSI badge put there, your Audi badge, and again the A4 emblem. You have this very weird bit of plastic trim. No, it looks goofy. And then again, 1 and 2, and they're real. Mercedes could never. Let's take a look at this boot. You're able to open it with your remote, and it is, oh, it's so big. Like, you could probably fit 1 or 2 bodies in here. I'm not gonna try and enter because that's very okay, I will succumb to peer pressure now. Now, yo that's pretty big. You can easily fit about 3 large dogs in there. About what, 20 kilos of dog food, even more? Mbogo, what do you think? Yeah. A lot, yeah? But it's very practical, and you have more under storage down here. If I could manage to open it, it's refused. I'm not going, oh yeah. You have the capacity to fit a spare tire in here, most likely a space saver, because a full spare will probably not fit in here. But it's pretty large. I quite like it. Let's hop into the interior. Oh. The standard A4 comes with an all fabric interior. This one is the S-Line variant. That means it comes with half fabric, half leather sport bucket seats. In the back, you get a decent amount of knee room and proper headroom, all provided by the sunken seating position. In the front section of the cabin, you get seats which are electronically adjustable. You also get a multifunctional steering wheel. You have tip screen controls on your left and your multimedia controls on the right. Mounted behind the steering wheel, you have your paddle shifters as well as your stalks to control your lights and your wipers. Comes standard with an analog gauge cluster that's clear and easy to read, with your RPMs on the left and tachometer on the right. The S4 also comes with the added benefit of having a driver-oriented center console. That means that all the functions and screens are pointed towards the driver. In terms of engine variations, I'm pretty sure the A4 is a car that has one of the most different variations that you can have, or engine selection options that you can have out of any car. In 2016, when this car was launched, they've more or less narrowed down the selection a little bit. So standard, you do get either a 1.4 TFSI, a 1.8 TFSI, a 2.0 TFSI, or a 2-liter TDI. Now, mixed in with all that, you do have some variations which come standard with the Quattro system. This one does not. It sends all its power straight down to the front wheels. This being an engine that has been shared across multiple platforms does mean it's been relatively well refined, where most of the major hiccups that plague this engine have been sort of massaged out of the system. You do have a couple of common issues that will plague you should you decide to own this car. First and foremost, you do have failures of certain systems such as your water pump and your high pressure fuel pump. Again, most of these systems being plastic, you will have those issues coming now and again due to how brittle plastic gets over time. You also do have issues such as your tensioner getting undone, and there have been quite a few reports about high oil consumption in these cars. It's not a very common issue, but it can happen. Now, this being a German car, it's like an Audi babe. You have to treat it carefully and delicately, or else you just get premium tears. So you have to keep up on your maintenance. Make sure you hit every single service interval. Otherwise, nah, it's not worth it. Now, with all that said, let's get Mbugo in the car and get a proper feel of how this is on the road. Right, I finally have Mbugo in the car.
I'm in the front, as you can see.
Today we're going in blind in terms of this review, right?
Okay.
And the A4 is relatively popular, especially this 2016 one, because I think it's well priced for what it is, relatively speaking, in terms of, like, if you're categorizing it with German cars. So this being our first time, realistically speaking, in one of these cars, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, it doesn't give the luxury compact sedan that's supposed to give in terms of the looks. Comparing it to its brother, actually its brother, the Passat.
Yeah.
Same amount, 2.8. When you get crazy features on the seats, the feeling, the ride quality for the Passat, it's way different. It feels more luxurious, more refined.
Yeah.
But this one feels more like I don't know how to say it. It's like Audi or like it's like how we placed the S400, a poor man's.
My bike.
Yeah.
Comparing it to the Passat, I feel like for this car, Audi was trying to go for a bit more of a sportier feel.
Okay.
But in terms of how they've implemented it, I do have a couple of issues with it. Because yeah, I can have a bit of fun with it, but again, like you say, it doesn't give that luxury.
We used to say in the past, we used to make people angry. Such a car will say it's an accountant car, it's a point A to B car. Yani, I feel like it's I don't know, I don't want to say wannabe, but it's just there. It's an A4.
Well, I mean, I kind of see your point here, but with Audi saying, or rather trying to make this the sportier car, let's see just how sporty it actually is, right?
I'm really curious.
So we do a speed check.
They say 0 to 100 how many seconds?
So,
more check.
Audi claims what? 8 seconds? 8.5 seconds?
8.2 around there.
8.2,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, stop here.
Reset this.
Reset that. See if we get that 8.2. You ready?
Yeah.
Brake, boost it a bit.
It's a CVT.
Oh, that actually kicked. That actually kicked.
Oh.
I'm already at 70. My goodness, my goodness.
Now you can feel the CVT.
Oh my goodness. Now you can even hear the CVT. Wow.
braking.
Wow. Oh. Yeah, those brakes are really ridiculously good. Anyways, talk to me.
Wow. They did skip the award.
What did they say?
It's an 8.8 seconds actually.
8 flat.
Because it's 8.07 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
What?
We're sorry, Audi.
We have eaten humble pie. We were a bit skeptical, but
now we know why people buy this car. It's a sleeper.
It actually really is, because this okay. This is probably not what this car is going to do, but an intake, a bit of a tune, and you're gapping. You're handing gaps to people, and a slight one. A slight one.
Do not care if you have a CVT. This is not a CVT. They call it a
Matronic. Actually, Buga, just come and experience this car, because I feel like I'm yapping too much. Yeah, let's. What? 8 seconds. Yo. Okay.
Yes, sorry, Audi.
Come. Just. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're now in the driver's seat.
I'm in the driver's seat. one thing I love is, okay, as much as I was trolling Audi, I love how everything is facing me.
Driver oriented.
The driver orientation, everything is. I can see everything. I can see my good speed. I can see. I mean, everything is attached, but I don't like the
start button being on the opposite side.
Imagine a kid being on that side, and then just.
I'm so tempted to switch off the car on you right now.
You know? And then you wouldn't even out of blame him to it. You see it.
It's very poorly implemented, all in the name of saving costs. Trash.
Well, anyway, it feels nice driving it.
Right.
Smooth.
Right.
And as you say, the suspension, I can feel a bit of every bump I can. But it's for a reason.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice something. You sacrifice comfort and get a bit of a sportier feeling.
Right.
You know, in terms of the double wishbone, which is said to be the best when you come taking corners. I'm at 76, and when I take this corner, I don't even feel it.
Boy, you want me to hug you? I don't believe. Yo, but that's me being extra. These seats do provide really good support,
and they're really comfortable.
Sport bucket seats, yeah. Now, going into this review, we had one big question: why do people choose this car?
Well, one reason I think why I would buy this car is mostly because of the engine.
Right.
It's a sleeper car. Looks like a 4-wheel sedan car, but don't think it can overtake. Iwa too.
Of course not.
This car will nyama you. Nyama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, this guy is one which I feel like you can probably call Alex Monzo to the bypass, the way he likes calling people, and you would not be too embarrassed. You'd be able to a little bit.
Another thing, I think the price point, comparing it to the
Benz and the 3 Series. So, the Benz, we can all agree, it's overpriced. Ridiculously overpriced.
The C200s, and I never understand
especially the C200, C250s.
And then you get a petrol one, it's even worse.
Yeah, and then in terms of BMW, reliability. That's the biggest issue with BMW.
And funny enough, Beamer is the cheapest in the lineup.
For a reason.
So basically the Beamer goes between 2.3 all the way to 2.5 million.
Exactly.
The 3 Series.
For one of around this age.
Yeah. But now it might, ifikia hii bei juu ya maybe upate ile M Sport package.
Or a lower miles, stuff like that.
Exactly.
But
asa upate yenye iko na
sunroof, like those extra bells
things,
and whistles.
Yeah, makes it maybe around the same price as this. But if you get the basic one, probably you're looking to spend 2.5.
Yeah.
Just around that.
So, what we can agree on is that the A4 provides a happy middle ground between the Benz and the Beamer.
It's iko hapo katikati.
Exactly, like it's
but if we put the Passat, then inakuwa a lost kid.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I'd say the Passat is now a bit closer to the Benz.
That's true. In terms of luxury, in terms of the feeling, you guys, I know, si kuchachisha, we've been in both cars, and trust me, when you look at the infotainment at the Passat, it's much bigger. Even you can hadi unapata the
The motions, the gestures and everything. Yeah.
Once when you bring your hands in a pop out, even it's not even 5 inches.
Yeah. it's size does not matter, Mbogwa. It's small, but I bet it has a good personality.
I was saying out of time.
Okay, we have concluded. Generally, try to find out why people buy these cars. One last question for you: would you buy this car?
For 2.8 million?
If you want a German car, that is.
Let me go for the Passat. Honestly, the Passat, yes, I know I'll have the 1.40 SI. Yeah, I know. But when it comes to fuel economy, it will have it. When I want that power, I'll have it. And I do not have a CVT. Amen.
You're not familiar CVT for no reason, man. Like, it needs some love.
Look at those. Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyways, guys.
Audi.
Okay, let's give Mbogwa some privacy. Guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. For 2.8 million shillings out of the big 3 German manufacturers, what would you pick? It's been Eminem.
See you on the next.
Feel nothing at all but pain in the chill. Said I'm cold in the water, broken and still.